Hi and welcome to another product demo from the Vision Australia Vision Store. And in this demo I want to take you through some of the major features of this excellent device that I've got sitting here on the table. And this is the Orbit Writer from Orbit Research. And of course they also make the Orbit Reader 20 and 40 cell refreshable braille displays. But this particular device is an actual keyboard only. So as you can see in the video, we've got our traditional 6 braille keys that I've currently got my fingers on. And then in between dot 1 and dot 4 on the left and right, we have an up, down, left and right arrow keys, and then a select key in the middle, a round key. And by the way, the up, down, left and right keys have a tactile edge on them, so they're very easy to locate. And then underneath that, what I tend to call the D-pad, or you can call it the joystick pad if you like, or the cursor pad, underneath that we have the nice big traditional space bar for a Perkins type style keyboard, and the left and right of that we have dot 7 and dot 8. So basically 6 braille keys, a cursor option in the middle with up, down, left and right and select. Below that space bar, and then dot 7 on the left, dot 8 on the right. On the left hand side, and I'm not going to move the device at the moment, but on the left hand side in the middle we have a micro USB port that you plug in for charging and or to update the Orbit Writer itself. And then in the middle on the front we have a lanyard slot to, of course, like the name implies, to attach a lanyard, so that if you want to, you can actually hang the Orbit Writer around your neck. Because weight-wise, this unit only weighs 90 grams. And just to give you the other dimensions, so width-wise, it's 160 millimeters. Width, it's 65 millimeters, and the depth of it from top to bottom is only 8 millimeters. So it's a very lightweight keyboard. When you first plug it into power, you'll get a short vibration to say it's charging. When you take it out of power, you'll get a long vibration to say charging has stopped or the USB connection's been taken out, which is actually really, really good. And what they suggest is the first time you get it, you charge it for at least 2 hours. And what I like about this device is that the battery time for using the keyboard lasts for 3 days. So it's really, really fantastic. Now, the way the Orbit Writer works, it's actually emulating a braille display. So when you link it up to an iOS device like an iPhone, iPod Touch or iPad, with of course voice over the screen reader, it's going to be acting like a braille display. So you would go into settings, accessibility, voice over braille, and then when this is in pairing mode, you would pair it to the Orbit Reader or Orbit Writer XXXXX serial number. On my particular unit here, it actually comes up as, it just says Orbit XXX45 for my one. All right, just to give you some more information, besides the other OSs that it also works with, of course it works with screen readers supporting braille displays for Windows. It also supports Android, of course, via BrailleBack. And it also works on Fire OS and Chrome OS as well, which is actually really, really, really good. Okay, so the way to turn the unit on is to hold the up and down arrows in. So I'm going to hold them in now. And you just heard it vibrate. So now the unit's on. Now, when you first get the device, it'll be actually in what they call channel 1, because this keyboard supports up to 5 Bluetooth channels. So from, if you like, dots 1 to 5, and then dot 6 for a USB connection. So whatever one's active, the other ones can be on standby. So if I want to first of all check my battery status at the moment, because I haven't got it plugged into power, if I hold down the space bar and press the up arrow key, okay, I get one long vibration, which means it's over 80% fully charged. And then when you're under 60 to 80, 40 to 60, it gives different number of pulses. When it gets below 20%, it's quite insistent. It'll keep reminding you that it's getting very low every 3 minutes. Now you might have heard it vibrate then, and that vibration is quite loud. If I want to check the current vibration level status, I just do space and hold down the right arrow key briefly. So it gives me 3 pulses, which means I'm on the very high intensity pulse 3 times. And if I hold the space bar down and keep holding the right arrow in this time, I've switched to the very quiet one. If I hold space bar again, hold the right arrow key in for basically 3 seconds and release, I'm on the 2 times. And if I do space bar and right arrow again, I'm on 3 times. So I'm just going to cycle around to put myself back to 3 times properly. There we go. All right. If I want to tell what channel is currently connected, if I do space and left arrow, it tells me that I'm currently on channel 1 and it's been previously connected to my iPad. If it wasn't connected to a previous iOS device, it would actually vibrate 3 times. So let's say if I choose channel 2, so I'm going to do space, left arrow and 3. Whoops, let me just do it again. Space, left arrow and 3. So it's now vibrated 3 times, which means I know channel 2 has not been connected to a previous device, whether it's iOS, Android, and so on. So I'm going to do space, left arrow, and then hold it in and release. And it just did 1 vibration, which means I've now put channel 2 in pairing mode. So I would then, if I was using my iPhone, go to Settings, Accessibility, Voice over Braille, and choose the Orbit XXXX serial number. And then when it connects, it gives a short vibration to say it's been paired, and then another couple of vibrations to say it's successfully connected, in this case with VoiceOver. So if I do space, left and 3, you can hear it do 3 vibrations, which means there's nothing connected there. Left arrow, space and 4, nothing there. So left arrow, so that was, I just said the wrong way around, so space, right arrow and 4, that's 4, nothing there. Space, right arrow and 5, nothing there. All right, so if I go back to port or channel 1, so space, left arrow and 1, you can hear it does 2 vibrations, which means I've previously connected to a device on channel 1, and then I can just turn on my iPhone and it would reconnect straight away. Now the way to actually use the Orbit Writer is very similar, or it's actually basically exactly the same as using with a Braille display. So let me just turn it off. I'm just going to do up and down arrows to turn it off. So basic navigation, let's take VoiceOver as an example. So of course I can use my left and right arrow keys if I was doing left flick and right flick with VoiceOver to go to the previous and next item. If I want to select an item, I can just press the select key in the middle. And of course up and down arrows would be my rotor option in VoiceOver in particular. Now just a trick with these up, down, left and right arrow keys, don't push them down straight down. Do it sort of like a crossways, like if you're pulling it out towards you, and then you'll get that nice feedback. If you push them down, they even sound different. All right, so just push out to the right, push out to the left, push up, push down, away from the actual cursor location, if you like. So that's the arrow keys. And then of course, traditional navigation for your input Braille keyboard with the space bar with chord commands. So space and 1 is previous item, space and 4 is next item, space 3 and 6 is to select an item. So that basically is emulating what the cursor keys do. And if you want to do the famous magic double tap to start and stop media playing, or to start and stop and answering a phone call, it's space and dots 1, 5 and 6, of course, with the space bar. But all this information is included in the extremely well written Orbit Writer user manual. It goes through all these different options. It talks about the channels. It talks about how to link them up with VoiceOver, with Voice View, with JAWS, with NVDA, with Narrator, all the stuff that you need to connect the Orbit Writer to. It's a really good product. The fact that you can link up to 5 Bluetooth and 1 US device, which is channel 6. And honestly, it works extremely well. So if you want to buy this from the Vision Australia Vision Store, the product ID is ES, E for elephant, S for Sam, 0411. You can search on the shop, of course, by just going to shop.visionaustralia.org and sticking in Orbit Writer or just Orbit, and it'll come up with the Orbit Writer keyboard. You can ring up the Vision Australia Vision Store via the main number, which is 1300 847 466, or please email visionstore@visionaustralia.org if you have any questions about the Orbit Writer. So that will do me for this demonstration, and as always, thanks for your attention and bye for now.